Welcome to Work of the Left Side. We are back. There was a True Grit show on Saturday night, which means I am joined by the awesomeness that is Paul and Dan. I ain't falling for that one again. You're not catching me out this time. But the dynamic duo of awesomeness. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Good, mate.
Yeah, good time. Had a great time on Saturday night and can't wait to talk about it. A lot of shenanigans, a lot of positives, a few negatives. But yeah, we'll get into them.
Exactly. Yeah, we was on about things happening at a York show, and yeah, I think we kind of caught it, and a lot of shit happened. So if you weren't there, more for you. Be there next time. But yeah, as you sort of said, great show. Just no spoiler alerts, but Dan, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, mate. Of course, I'm still feeling it. I sometimes forget I'm an approaching middle-aged fat man, and when I'm slinging cans and lugging crates of beer, I tend to feel it for a couple of days after, because I'm nowhere near an athlete. So it was hard enough slinging beer in that assembly. I'll never mind actually wrestling in it because it was bloody mafty.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. It did feel like a warm day, but when you was in there, man, it was
it heats up. It's really challenging for the wrestlers, and it'll be probably even worse come August. It is a real tester. But yeah, we had plenty of beverages on hand, and it was good to see a lot of people taking part. It was a decent sized crowd for York. I always want more people in, but the crowd were the only thing hotter than the venue itself.
Exactly.
They were very
good crowd, man. It's always a good crowd in York as well, though. Even though you might be lacking in a few numbers sometimes, they make up for it with volume and just trash talk. So,
particularly towards a certain trash man Sash.
There we go. That's the one you see. But yeah, so I love doing this kind of stuff because as much as I enjoyed the show, it's always fun just to it gets me re-hyped again, just talking about it and the stuff that everybody liked. And if I miss something, I know you guys would have seen it and been like, oh shit, I didn't notice that. So let's crack on. Again, if you know me, I'm just a massive fan of how cards are laid out, like the opening matches and things like that. And I just think, HT Drake has I think he opened up a show with Tony Wright a few shows ago. So it's HT Drake again coming out first, pretty much setting the bar against Mega Calibre. That's awesomeness of Lucha.
Yeah, apparently I didn't know this, and I've not verified it. But on commentary, watching it back, apparently Calibre means hummingbird. Don't know if that's true. I might be making a complete dick of myself.
Just blame Messiah if it's not true.
Yeah,
we'll just blame Messiah's fault.
But yeah, Drake sets the standard for any show he's on. As much as he's a grumpy bastard and he likes drenching everybody, he can do everything. You're always going to get some exquisite violence out of him. And I think this was probably the only time where drenching people in water was probably appreciated with the temperatures we mentioned before. But yeah, it was very much True Grit regular versus True Grit newcomer. Calibre struggled to get on the blocks a bit, didn't he, really? Just because Drake seems to have ascended to a new level of viciousness since taking out Priscilla and then Ollie Burns.
Yeah, it's like he's riding that confidence. That confidence is high. Yeah, Mega, he got some offense in, he's bouncing off the ropes, off the top rope. But yeah, HT Drake was adamant he was just going to pretty much ground and pound him and just keep him down. And but like I said, it was a good way of starting the show. It kind of, again, I always loved the clear bad guy, clear good guy to start the show because it's just very much like, right, we know who we're going to cheer, we know who we're going to boo.
We know we're going to cheer anybody but Drake. Pretty much. And that's why Drake, just like I say, he's the gatekeeper and so good in wherever you put him on the card. He's just a bastard, but he's bloody good at being a bastard.
Yeah, he's an even bigger one as well when he's got a point to prove. We saw that he finished the match with Priscilla's Priscilla Killer, which was a clear message sent out to Priscilla. And he's even nastier. He's a sick guy when he's got a vendetta and an axe to grind.
That's it. Yeah, when you point him at somebody, when he's actually like on a mission, when he's got a target, it just seems to turn it up another notch, which is crazy.
Yeah, and that actually, I said the crowd was hot. They didn't start out that way. It took a minute to get the crowd on board, but that's why you have Drake. You have Drake there. He's instant booze, makes everybody's job 10 times easier, I'd imagine. If we're peeling back the curtain a little bit, I'm speaking as a fan, from a fan perspective. I wouldn't dream of trying to speak from a wrestling perspective.
Shout out as well, obviously, to I was going to shout out Ivy and Bobby Cash as well, obviously, for opening up the show. That's kind of becoming like a thing now as well. Obviously, when those two have a bit of back and forth for 5 minutes. I like the chemistry. I love seeing Bobby Cash and Ivy in the ring together. I just, it amuses them.
R.I.P. Bobby's jacket.
Yeah.
We'll say no more on that.
Yeah. I think anybody that isn't paying attention at the start of the show when HT Drake comes out and gives you all a shower with his water, you're certainly paying attention then. So that does really get the crowd engaged and if you've never been to True Grit before, it's a welcome that you won't get anywhere else.
It's a wake-up call. But great way to start the show.
Sorry, I was going to say it was a different type of match because Calibra, obviously, we all wanted, trying to fly around, and that's what you want to see out of a luchador. But Drake just was not in the mood, shutting everything down, and it's not often you see that type of match, and it was somewhat very different, and it was kind of, oh, right, okay, Jesus, like I said, going to that other level, and I just really hope that it will lead into something with Ollie Burns or Priscilla at the Pride show next month.
Yeah, I'm expecting a video package to come up at some point. I'm hoping, Ollie or Priscilla addresses the situation, and we get something set. Because we haven't seen, the end of that. That's still got to be something's got to happen. It can't end with Ollie, just walking away. So, but we will see. After this match, though, I was so confident I had them all memorized. I even said to you, mate, no, I've got it. I've got the matches down, memorized. Tim Strange versus Joey Slade. That's what it was.
Yeah.
We called this one, didn't we, Dan? We called it. We did. And we got it. We stuck to our guns and we got it.
I was 2 for 2 at this point and feeling good.
Yeah.
Tim Strange absolutely hossed his way through Joey Slade. It was actually a lot funnier than I expected it to be, this match. Because credit to him, Joey, for what little bit he did get on top, when I think Tim Strange kicked out at 1-3 times, and Joey's like crawling over to Sash, going, Sash, he's kicked out at 1-3 times. What do I do? And it was sort of a sign of Joey we've not really seen before, because he's a big lad. He's a sizable kid, and he's tough as nails. But what can you do against 6'6", 400-pound of cowboy? Really,
Canadian cowboy.
I got a great video from my seat on the bar of Tim just going ham with the chops on Joey's chest and turning them into steak.
That was Joey's chest afterwards. But again, depending on where you sat, I was very lucky where I was kind of like hard cam side. So I saw some of Tim's facial expressions, though, like just whenever Joey tried to mount some kind of offense, Tim's face just said it all. Literally, was just like, really? Like, yeah, okay, my bad.
I didn't see that. Yeah, I didn't see that from the angle that I was at. I did watch it back on Triller, and when Sash had him distracted and Joey came round to the back and jumped on him round his... Oh, sorry, dog's the camera off.
Right.
Yeah, Joey came round the back and tried to choke him, and Tim Strange's face was just not happening today, brother. Dropped on his back.
And then trying to make Joey pizza. It was just badass hossery from Tim, and counteracting the shenanigans, and it was great entertainment. But it was sort of a theme of the first two matches. It was the less experienced wrestler trying to get going against the experienced one, which I thought was really, really interesting the way it was put together. Except obviously you had Calibre the face trying to get going against Drake, and then Joey the heel trying to get against Tim Strange. And the one thing that's quite hard to do, that as far as I've been watching wrestling, again, fan perspective, is to have a baby face be the much bigger man.
Yeah.
It's why it was always so difficult to get Big Show's a face constantly. Why Undertaker and Kane, or Undertaker's maybe the exception, but Kane and wrestlers of that size, why it's so hard to keep them face for very long, because it's hard to be sympathetic. But it's a testament to just how much everybody hates the regime. That they were quite happy to see Tim Strange, who obviously got his issues with Joey Slade anyway, and then Hellbound in other promotions, just absolutely batter the kid. And that's what he did, the chops, that lariat to finish off. I got a great video of that lariat. It was gnarly. Yeah,
it was everything you wanted it to be. I mean, obviously, I kind of got the prediction wrong. I said Joey, I was expecting shenanigans. I thought, I was pinning my hat on Joey just keep getting the W's until Alton turns up, and Alton being the guy that put him in his place. Obviously, Joey's, hopefully that still happens. Something must, happen for Joey to get overly confident again, or get his confidence back, get a little bit cocky. And then,
Nick, like I said, Hellbound have the issues with Tim Strange. Joey losing to Tim Strange will piss Alton off just as much as Joey being in the regime.
Well, yeah, what's the lesser of two evils, I guess, how they could work it. But I hope we still get Alton. I'm still kind of pinning my hat on that one. I really do want to, if I could, if I had the three wishes of three fantasy bookings things, Alton versus Joey and True Grit would be one of my ultimate fantasy bookings. So,
Paul, you've had the in-ring experience. Would you fancy taking those chops from Tim or that lariat?
Absolutely not. No. I think you can actually see me in the background on the hard cam with the lariat and with the chops. You actually see me. I was hiding behind my hands listening to the sound of it. It was loud. It was loud.
I asked that because you looked at me. You were looking at me as he was doing it, and I'm filming, laughing away, and you're there.
Yeah, we caught eyes a few times, didn't we, during that match with the cowbell at the start as well? Yeah. We nearly broke into a Canadian Dream.
I did.
Dum, dum, dum.
Yeah, I was singing and having a little dance, mate. I was hyper.
Yeah.
I heard you from where I was. I was like, oh, bless Dan. He's having a right good time. Singing away.
Everybody else looking at me thinking, what a knob.
And I absolutely love rodeo time.
Yeah.
It's rodeo time.
I've got a picture of that. I'll make it pop up at some point. And it's just the difference. I think you've seen it, Dan. I put it on Twitter yesterday. It's just a difference in facial expressions between Tim and Joey. It's like a total contrast of emotions. It's just happy as Larry. Joey, not so much.
It's watching it back, and Joey is the closest I've ever seen someone. In a cartoon, when they get bonked on the head and their eyes swirl around in different directions, you see like the pupils rolling, like like a balls in a tombola or whatever, or bingo thing. It was brilliant.
So, but yeah, great match. Awesome to see Tim back. Loved him. Love to see him at True Grit more, kind of thing. I know he's a busy man though, so I know it's always nice though when he finds time to squeeze True Grit in, and they're able to use him. Just please come back sooner rather than later. We loved him.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
Well, actually, do you know what I'd like to see? Tim versus Kemper. I love doing that to Nick. That only just popped into my head now, and Nick's nearly choked on his vape. I thought it was going to come out of his ass. Hello, puppy.
Out my ears.
Yeah. I think the Paul frozen, or is he just like having a bit of a moment over thinking about that match?
Well, I don't know. I think it's frozen.
That'd be a great match.
That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Oh,
that's not even crossed my mind either. But now you've said it,
yeah. Again, like they keeping tempo.
Paul, I'm just sending you that photo that Nick took of Tim and Joey.
Oh, brilliant! I'll have a good laugh at that later. You know, man, was the regime and Joey, and I sat there with a big smile. Just looked at it now.
Talking about, obviously, we've got to discuss, obviously, Tim wins this match, which then had ramifications. You know, Joey kind of got punished for this result later on. Well, in the next match.
Yeah, he even got a new surname courtesy of someone starting a chant who shall remain nameless and almost certainly was me. Next match. Sorry, I'm just going to take over on this one because it broke my heart. It was the tag title match. NashBoat versus the Underpants Gnomes. And after Sasha had been kicked out, Ivy granted him the fastest manager's license in the history of pro wrestling, brought him back, and then the next thing you know, we've got a recliner out there. JC's had his hip replaced a few weeks ago, which isn't pleasant, but he's hamming it up a little bit. I'll be honest, I was fully expecting a wheelchair like when Kurt Angle was SmackDown GM. And Joey Slade came out caressing his chest and became Joey Footstool because JC decided to not use the recliner.
Good job, Sasha's got. Good job, Sasha's got contacts at DFS. You know that's where that.
Well, I wondered if Sasha just nicked it from his nan's house where he films his promos. But before we get to the result, the Joey Footstool chant got started. I would say I'm sorry, but I'm not. I nearly apologise. Why would I do that? NashBoat shenanigans, fun. Ace Matthews nearly fell on his ass on a wet patch on the floor. He decided to have a little swim on the entrance.
Again, what is it with Ace decking it? It was like he did it like that time when he turned up late when Axel kind of replaced him. Then Ace turned up and he just came running across and absolutely decked it. Those floors, man. Yeah.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, his case full of ducks, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Duck case.
But yes, so the powers that be, Franco and Brad.
Underpants Gnomes
versus NashBoat. And I think we all kind of had a bad feeling about this. Well, I wouldn't say a bad feeling. Also, I know you guys, I kind of caught it. I know you guys were optimistic, shall we say.
I think me and you went heart over head, didn't we, Paul?
We did, yeah. It was a result to see rather than the result that was going to happen. That's what my prediction was, and unfortunately, I got it wrong.
And I've just clocked it in the corner of the screen as well, because the one thing I called was that Sash would end up as a champion via a 3-bird rule, which I'm going to rechristen the 3-turd rule because they are 3 complete turds. And it's like it's going from fan favourites to just complete sadness.
Oh,
fuck off, Nick! Just because you got your prediction right.
No. Yeah, finally got a point on the board. Nobody finally got a point in the prediction league. He was 2-0 up to this point.
Nobody should ever be happy with those 3 as tag champions. two actual wrestlers, and I was going to say two actual wrestlers and a Make-A-Wish kid, but that'd be insulting to Make-A-Wish kids. Comparing him to Sash. The thing is, it was a good match. Interference and bullshit and result aside, people underestimate just how good Nash is. Like that stalling suplex on Brad.
Oh yeah.
And Ace shoving him to make the tag and complete the move. That was brilliant. As much as I don't like them, Brad and Franco are a well-oiled machine. They really are. They hit hard. They tag well. They know the game. It was just very good. That sort of bell to bell.
Yeah, Sash handpicked his tag team quite well because we've seen him latching on to others in the past in a hope to get this Freebird rule. I'm pretty sure that's the only way that he could become a tag team champion, by a Freebird rule. But he tried latching on to Vusic and Shreddy.
Yeah, he did.
And they couldn't get the job done, but Franco and Brad have done it, and he's weaseled his way into becoming a champion. One of the first things he did was in my face. Look at me, I'm a champion now. After what I said during the hype episode, and I was just screaming back by default.
Yeah, you were. Well, I put on Twitter after I think Nick put that picture on. Basically, I hate being right sometimes because I call it the Freebird rule, and Sash quoted it with pictures of him with various other belts. So I was just looking at it thinking it's really nice that other wrestlers have lent him the belts to do photo shoots with. He's such a knob.
Yeah.
Pretending he's got money when he just keeps taking out payday loans.
Sash's
Wonga. It reminds me of the kids. It reminds me of the kids when they want to be a wrestler, they're playing wrestling, and one of them wants to be in Jericho, the other wants to be in Jericho. Why don't you both be in Jericho? It's like with him, you can be a tag team champion as well, Sash. If it stops you crying, we'll make you a Freebird champion.
3-turd.
But
3-turd,
I am going to acknowledge, obviously, Brad and Franco for their awesomeness. As much as the association, they're my boys from Nottingham. Massive appreciate them. And they are a very, very good tag team. Don't undersell just how the awesomeness of the powers that be. They do hold tag titles elsewhere, and they are challenging for the Elevation tag titles as well soon, I believe. So, they could be belt collecting. Do we discuss the heartbreak after the match? Do we kind of leave that for people to keep their eyes on? I'm sure it'll be posted all over the True Grit socials at some point.
Yeah, I think I don't want to acknowledge it because, as I mentioned before, I've been friends with Ace Matthews a long time. Yeah. I'm become friends with Wing Commander Nash outside of wrestling shows, and I actually missed the finish because somebody came to buy beer. If you watch it back, when the 3 count goes down, my head snaps up. You can just see it before the camera moves around. My head snaps up, and you can't hear it on the recording, but my head snaps up, and I've not even taken this guy's payment. I realised what had happened. I just went, fuck. Like,
cheers for the free beer.
Oh, no, I took his payment.
Oh, you took his payment in the end, yeah.
Yeah. But I just put the card machine out to him, and then someone just went, fuck. And he thought there was something wrong.
No. But yeah, what we'll say. So what we'll say though is, to find out what happened after that match, keep your eyes on the True Grit socials or go watch it on Thriller, Patreon, because there is something we will talk about at a later date. Well, obviously we'll see what happens, and I'm sure we'll talk about the consequences or the ramifications on the next episode, kind of thing, on the next hype episode. So
I think all we can say is there isn't a rematch clause that's going to be put into effect because it's the regime. And JC wants to get what JC wants to get. So who next to face the Gnomes?
Yeah.
Personally, I would like to see Crashboat come back.
Yeah.
Or Misery Business.
Well, I mean,
those
Misery
are the two
Business.
go-to. But as a returning tag team we haven't seen for a while, I'd quite like to see Act 2 come back.
Oh, yes.
Just a thought.
Hack and slash.
I knew you were going to say that. I was going to say Nick's already got somebody in his mind, and I knew that was coming. I was about to ask who's on your mind, Nick.
Hack and slash.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see Hack and slash back.
They've got history. They've got history as well because they went against them in the 6-man tag match where they had Jake against.
Yeah, I'd love to see. This is a random one because we've not seen them at True Grit, but in terms of what I think would make a good match, I'd love to see the Freak Show go for the True Grit Tag Team Champions. Imagine that, Gentleman Jim Maguire and Axel the Clown. Freaky Felicia out there with Sash at the ringside.
That'd be mint.
That would be awesome.
We are overlooking an undefeated tag team in True Grit. And Serico and Paul Stewart.
No chance. I'm done, me. Never getting back in that ring.
What about Lally?
I always want to see Lally tag team.
So this is just Wrestling 101. You know, it's storytelling. It's just the evolution of what's going on. So
I just remembered something and I'm fuming.
What?
It's the fact that yes, there were shenanigans in this match, but the shenanigans didn't necessarily lead directly to the pin.
Nope.
So you can almost say it was a half clean victory. It's not 100% clean because there was shenanigans, but that sticks in my craw a little bit. Anyway, I can see that smug look coming on your face, Nick.
I'm not saying no. So what could possibly follow this match? You know, I mean, the revelation, the aftermath, everything that's gone on. You know, what's going to pick our spirits up after this? After the NashBoat lose, what could possibly put a smile back on our faces?
Alexis Falcon getting her head kicked in.
Lally.
And Lally.
And Rhio. Oh. Mate, this match was unreal. Absolutely, just all 4 people. I've sort of posted something earlier, just basically saying, you know, 4 of the best in the country right now. It's just Alexis Falcon. You know, I saw her obviously at North last week. I've seen her, you know, not going to say tonight, but on Saturday night at True Grit. Just when she comes out, in fact that she had the belt, it's just an ultimate piss take, and just where that she comes out and laughs at the crowd. Just a character is so on point.
Calling herself a champion is just a real shitty move, and it's Alexis. I've seen Alexis a few times, as I've seen Alexis for Rev Pro, and every time I tried to get behind Alexis, she shut me down immediately, masterfully. It's like, well, that's me, sure. It can be done. She's just so good at being bad, and Lana Austin, exactly the same. Holly Barlow is really talented and just has that X factor that just makes you like her. You know what I mean? She's like a bit like Nash. She just got that facet to her personality where she's just like a little bundle of joy, like a walking antidepressant. And then I said Alexis was really good at being bad. Then you got Rhio coming, who's really good at being badass. Like what a mix of 3 very unique and top level talents.
Paul, you enjoy this one?
Absolutely. I think I've said it before that I'm not usually a fan of Fatal 4-Ways. I often find that I think people can get lost in them, so I'm not normally a fan of them. But True Grit does have really good Fatal 4-Ways. I was taken back by the Blackheart one. I'd never seen a few of the guys there, but I liked in this match how stories developed, stories carried on, and there was a combination of so many things going on. you had Rhio just going straight in for Alexis over the belt, and then you're looking at little parts where you're thinking, oh, is Holly and Lana gonna, team up together? They're not teaming up together. There was one point when Lana turned around and Alexis was stomping Holly in the corner. It's like, oh, she's actually gonna go and help her here. And then she decided to do something else. So it's just, you're just waiting for that moment, but you were watching the story develop, and I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it.
There were certain points that were just poetry in motion.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there. You sneaky prawn. Yeah, great match. The accidental teaming stuff with Lana and Holly, just brilliant stuff. And like you said, Paul, with Lana nearly going over and saving Holly, is in only I'm allowed to batter her.
Yeah.
It's like sticking up for little sibling. When it's like only I'm allowed to be a dick to him.
That's it. I can say what I want, but you ain't saying nothing.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Rhio came out on top though again. Just Rio's got one of the best package pile drivers, and Rhio and Lana have fought each other up and down the country for I think every major promotions title. Lana knows all too well what that pile driver feels like. So we have to ask, what next for Rhio? We asked that before, didn't we?
Yeah.
I was adamant, man. I was adamant, that it was changing hands this time. It didn't change last time. It's definitely changing this time. Nope, got it wrong again. And I was like, okay, fair enough. So, but yeah, what next for Rhio? Because, we have not to besmirch, obviously, True Grit. We love True Grit, but it's kind of lacking depth in the women's division at the minute. We are missing.
Well, outside of those four.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Lizzie Evo in a long time. We haven't seen ZZ in a long time.
Got Melissa Fair's kicking about.
Melissa Fair's picked up a couple of wins.
Where's Natalie
Sykes? Yeah, not seen Natalie in a long time.
Harley Harris.
So there is, Harley Harris. Yeah. You're fresh off a loss to Joey Slade, but there's an asterisk on that because Joey's a dirtbag. I'm really not good at keeping my biases at bay, am I?
No, you're not really. I love Joey. Joey, we love you, Joey.
Yes.
I'll balance it out.
You Midlands lot. So yeah, I'll be intrigued to see where it goes. Do we get somebody new in? Who comes in? Just let's see where it goes.
That's it. It's exciting. Something's got to, we trust True Grit. There's nothing, but they've earned that trust from us. I'm saying it's kind of lacking depth. Might be intentional. It might be just so when something does happen, it's even more impactful. Yeah. We know something's going to be like, yes, there we go. So, but yeah, so obviously that kind of took us. That was a great way to end the first half. It left everybody be like just satisfied, kind of recharged my soul. Relieved, yeah. It lifted us back up after the whole NashBoat thing. Had the intermission, Nick. Bosch, and we are back for the second half.
Speak for yourself. I was working harder than ever at the interval.
Oh, yes, I do. That's like, me and Paul go get some fresh air, relax a little bit. You work your ass off during the intermission. So, but again, we're talking about starting the first half right, starting the second half of the show perfectly. It's the tag team match to decide the number one contender. Riley Nova and Brady Phillips versus Vuzic. And the last minute switch, a standout choice, Mr. Billy O'Keefe. Again, as much as hyped as I was about the women's match, this match, man, it was beautiful. It was artwork. It was just perfect.
The whole show had been a roller coaster to that point. This match was a roller coaster in itself. Like the sheer amount that was going on. Brady and Riley working as a team for the up to a point, for the vast majority. Vuzic and Billy struggling to put their own interests to one side, as was predicted by certain people. It blew me away, but that just the the most unbelievable thing about this match was Riley Nova's horrendous time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Ron Seal Riley's chant started.
You did. Oh, yeah, I was impressed with that. I tried to get the Brady's bitch boy going, but I think I mistimed it this time. So I was like, I didn't quite hit. So, but yeah, I mean, from the get go, as you sort of said, Vuzic and Billy couldn't even decide who was going to start the match. That started the ball rolling. That kind of set the tone. It's like clear. Obviously, these two guys are, as rightly so, the single competitors. There's a chance to get a title shot here. You want it. Yeah. You're going to push for it. You're going to be selfish. You got to be selfish. And then on the flip side, Riley and Brady, well-oiled machine, as you said, for the most part of the match. So again, Paul, mate, the thing is, I know we're all fans and we love the stories, and this just embodied everything for me.
Oh yeah, it did. You'll never see any of them individually put on a bad match. Vuzic, O'Keefe, Brady, Riley. I've never seen any of them have a bad match with anyone. So you stick 4 people like that together in a ring, and you're in for one of the best matches that you're going to see anywhere in terms of tag team. The technical ability of the guys, the athleticism, everything that they bring, the high flying that you can get from, Billy O'Keefe. It was just an absolute banger, wasn't it? And it had the moments, it had the suspense. It was one point, Riley's got, I can't remember, I think it was Billy on the floor. He's looking for Brady. Brady's nowhere to be seen. It's like, I'm gonna take this moment. Whereas all the rest of the time he was tagging Brady, quick, you go pin him. And then, we had that moment and Brady comes storming in, and the facial expressions of Brady, he was fuming.
Only one person predicted. The youngest member of the Predictor League nailed the end of this match.
Yeah. You just got the wrong people, but I think it's fair to say he was closest, yeah.
Well, yeah, because we all thought that Riley was going to take it, didn't we? Or a good few of us did.
I went with Vuzic, mate, but he said a double pin, and I was like, oh my God, when he said it to me, because I'm getting his predictions in, and the first thing I did was message you guys like, oh my God, Thomas has called this. I was like, it'd work. He's brilliant.
Spoiler alert, he's getting an extra point for that.
Yeah.
In our little Predictor League, but you say about 4 talents who you can't get a bad match out of, but it elevates it so high when you're putting them with so much story to work with, and so much reason to do what they do and to play with and to really get the teeth into. It's like having a great actor's a great actor, but a great actor with a great script. Michelangelo could have coloured in the Sistine Chapel with crayons, but they gave him the best paints that they could. It's not a very well thought through metaphor, but what I'm driving at.
I get the sentiment.
I'm just laughing at Michelangelo crayons. Dot by dot.
I do like how Billy came into this though, because the match wasn't put in place for Billy to be there. It was supposed to be Jack Marshall, and he came in wanting that opportunity. He has been climbing the ladder. He beat Calibre, he's beat Riley, he's come out of a feud with Sean Only, and he's like, I've not gone through all of that for nothing, and I'm having that time. And it was good. Some people were shocked to see him like, no, I'm not tagging you in. And it's like, fair play to you. You've put on some great matches, and you go for that belt. And people thinking, is it some form of heel work? And it absolutely, it's not. No, he's bloody earned it. So I like it how he managed to come into this match and bring a new story to it. It was fantastic.
That comes to something that I wanted to say, which was that Billy stepping in at such short notice looked like he belonged in that caliber of match.
Yeah,
it was Billy's foot into the main event. It was Billy's foot into #1 contendership. It was Billy's foot into bigger and better things. And we do like our fantasy booking here. I do like popping Nick and making him pull faces on camera in these things. So with the finish of this match being the double pin between, he's gone all Daredevil, with the pin being Vucic and Brady, and that gets sorted out later in the show. That leaves Riley and Billy as the two that miss out. But the ultimate person that missed out was Jet Marshall. So does that mean that the next #1 contendership match is a triple threat between Billy, Riley, and Jet Marshall?
Ooh. Wow. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine just the awesome? Damn out! I'm tapping. That's it. I'm done. Jesus wept, man. That would be unreal. But again, it would just be perfect. It would work so well. And True Grit would give them like a solid 10, 15 minutes, and they would just have at it. Those three guys in the ring together.
Give them 20, 25.
Give them 20.
It'll have to be in York, because that's where Jet Marshall does his best work.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. I'm one from there as well.
Mr. Milford.
Mr. Milford. Mr. Milford, Jet Marshall. We've got all the M's in there. That's some good work, that Paul. JC, give us a pen. Come on.
the whole effing Milthorpe. Mate, that's just. But again, just a second. Obviously, we've acknowledged Billy, how great Billy did. All three guys did amazing. Oh, the other three guys did amazing as well. But obviously, we kind of focused on Billy, as you said, because he came in at the last minute. He looked like he belonged there, and that is the best Billy O'Keefe match I've ever seen. So again, another reason to go watch it on Triller. If you're a Billy fan and you missed this match for any reason, go watch it now. It was
and actually, to be fair, same goes for Riley. Because Riley's had a few matches, singles matches here and there, but not too many. But stepping up to the level of a Vucic and a Brady, he's only a young man like Billy O'Keefe. So I have to give the props to Riley as well, even if he's Brady's bitch boy. Bronze Seal Riley and Alabaster Brady. Anyway, sorry, that's just awesome. We could go spot for spot, move for move. It's impossible because of how much was going on. This was all about the story about who'd get the pinfall. This was drama,
and it's given us. I would say we'll get to the main event first, just to obviously in case there was a title change.
I just wanted to ask a quick question. So this is an opinion on your opinion. Is Vucic the most over man in True Grit at the moment? Ooh. I'd say yes. The crowd reaction for Vucic compared to anyone else, I think since Wes has gone and you're looking for the face of True Grit, the one that everyone's behind, I think Vusic's took that. I think he is Mr. True Grit.
Kemper's up there as well.
Kemper's up there, but in terms of being over with the fans, the noise, it's very close.
I'm going to throw a shout for Rhio.
Rhio.
Those are
your thoughts were.
It was NashBoat. NashBoat
there.
Of course, NashBoat.
No, I get where you're coming from though with the Vucic thing. So I likened him coming out at, during the cage match to like a freaking Steve Austin level pop. Like an Austin coming out and just stunning people left, right, and center. That's what Vucic coming out and breaking the cage open and the reaction, and people just going nuts for him, kind of thing. So if I'm comparing Vucic to an Austin reaction, then he's definitely up there.
Yeah, definitely up there. Yeah.
It's just wondering where the catalyst came now.
What was that?
I'm guessing probably when he uppercutted Sash, weren't it?
Yeah.
There must have been a catalyst because he's just trajected, hasn't he, Vucic? Since I've been coming anyway, he's always had a reaction, but he's had like a catalyst. He's got a rocket up his ass, and he's flying at the moment, Vucic, and it's deserved. I've seen him have some banging matches in other promotions as well. He's top act.
It's amazing, isn't it? What just uppercutting Sash, and then he's just been the same ass kicker. He's been kicking the right asses to get the fans on side.
Yeah,
and that's been the amazing thing. It's because we know how badass he is, how much he can kick ass, how much he can kick the shit out of people. But he's been kicking the shit out of people we want to see get the shit kicked out of. I think that's what it sort of boils down to, really. And like I say, right place, right time. Yes, we've got to get on, haven't we? Because we've got 2 more matches to do.
Yes, I don't want to sell them short, especially the next match, just because it was obviously Mr. Egghead, Mr. Sean Only, versus the Yorkshire Wildcard, Mr. Ernest Boggs.
Yeah, good to see Ernest. Never seen him singles before, so it was a great experience. I was very impressed.
And I Paul's a fan.
Yeah. I am.
Yeah, just making Sean look a bit silly early on. Getting the the slap around the head. But anyway, sorry, I've rambled enough. Paul, did Ernest live up to your fandom? I take it he did.
Oh, he did. Yeah. I've met Ernest a few times, a few different shows, and I'm so glad that he's back on True Grit. I had a moment at the start. You do hear it on the Triller when Sean verse came out, and I wondered how he was going to reveal his new haircut, and he teased it. I thought, oh, what's he going to do? Is he going to have something else? And then he just pulled it back, and you hear me with the biggest, girliest shriek laugh. And he came over, he's like, I'll knock you out a bit. I just stayed quiet. I thought, no, I know my place now. I'm not getting pulled back into that ring again. So, yeah, it was it's a great match. I love seeing Sean, and I love seeing Ernest. So it's brilliant for me.
Ernest's got to come back, even though it was a losing effort for him. He's definitely endeared himself. I think partially through getting the shit kicked out of him, really, because much like Drake wasn't in the mood for any shenanigans earlier on, nor was Sean. He was very much out for vengeance, out for blood, and just he did what he does. Kick someone's head in.
I think the new hairstyle has made him more aerodynamic. He just flowed around the ring a lot quicker and a lot fiercer and a lot more impact.
I made that joke on the merch.
Did you?
Yeah.
Very well.
Aerodynamic.
But yeah, again, second, what Paul's saying about Ernest, top guy. Hopefully, he's the kind of guy that I can sort of see, because obviously you do kind of get some people who work the York shows more than the left bank shows. Also, I want to see Ernest at left bank as well. That'd be awesome. But I also kind of like the fact that we've got a stable of people that work York more than the left bank ones. It kind of makes it feel a little bit different sometimes. And yeah, if Ernest becomes sort of a regular at York, I think it would get over huge.
Yeah. He got a reaction.
That makes sense.
Yeah. He got the reaction, didn't it? Like, because that's the first time he's been seen in York. He was debuted at the Rumble in Leeds. So we get some of the same crowd that go to York as they do Leeds, but this would have been a lot of people's first exposure to Ernest, and he was over. The crowd loved it. Carrying out Yorkshire tea bags, Yorkshire roses on his ring gear. He's, some people would say it's a cheap pot, but he backs it up. He's professional. He's good. He's solid. He's a worker. He's a good lad, and I ought to see him, more like regular. I do. I think he's earned it. So
definitely.
I'd love to see him come back. Sorry, I'd love to see him come back into something like we saw the Blackheart four-way. Bring a Sammy Blue in, bring a Gung Ho Muttley in, bring somebody like those two back, and let's have another triple threat or another four-way. Let's have these matches that get to showcase new talent, and if that's happening in York and they deliver like the Blackheart four-way did, then brilliant. And you were saying before about having maybe a bit of a thin women's roster at the minute. Let's do that for women's wrestlers as well. I could see somebody like Maddie Morgan from LWF, Lancashire Wrestling Federation, bring Maddie Morgan in, start giving a true grit platform to these kinds of wrestlers. Bring Alfie back. Love Alfie. Alfie's a lot of places now. Great talent. There'll be more names, but it's getting late and my brain doesn't work at the best of times.
But yeah, shout out as well. Mr. Boggs will be joining me next month to do an episode as well. So, on the back of that's how good he was. As soon as I saw him afterwards, I was like, mate, I need to talk. We need to have a chat. Please come on and talk to me. Please make me feel like somebody likes him.
Validate me.
Yeah, basically, come validate me. I sounded wrong, but yes. But we do have to let people know as well, obviously. Or do we direct them to Trill? Actually, we'll wait for.
Okay. No, direct them to Triller because again, much like the end of the Wing Command, the NashBoat Underpants Gnomes match, a thing happened.
Yes.
And it's my turn to not be very happy with Bobby Cash. And I did apologise to Bobby after the show. I didn't mean to slightly hijack a segment of the show, but after what happened, Bobby was quite flippant.
Yeah.
And I know Bobby's having fun and he's there to have the show and host the show and keep everybody rolling and whatnot. But I think there's a time and a place where one job has to come into the other, and I couldn't let it lie. Yeah. I had to say what I said. I just hope Bobby takes it seriously and at least tries to find a way to mitigate some of the damage that could be done.
Yeah,
definitely. Because we all know how contracts work, Bobby. You don't need to tell us.
Yeah, you do. This is a great thing. I think this is a great thing. I don't have a contract.
Yeah, free agent. It's gone rogue. Right, main event. The biggest main event. The biggest main event ever in True Grit history. Probably one of the biggest main events ever in British wrestling. Kemper.
The biggest main event in British wrestling since Big Daddy versus Giant Haystacks.
Oh,
in terms of the size of the competitors involved, the biggest main event you can get anywhere, unless you maybe chuck Tim Strange into it.
Yes.
Yeah. Kemper versus Big T. Kemper defending his title. We wanted I said kaiju just before. We wanted a monster battle, and we got a monster battle.
Yeah,
this is unlike anything you'll see anywhere in British wrestling. This match does not happen often. Two lads this big going at it, and not only two lads this big, but two lads this good at what they do.
Yes, yeah, that's it. It could have just been a slow-paced chop fest. Nothing much going on. Two big guys. Maybe some people half expecting it. But if you're half expecting it, you don't know who is in this ring. You don't know how good these two guys are. Mate, they just went at it. I mean, we saw Kemper coming off the top rope, doing a crossbody. Just going over. Oh, mate, just both guys absolutely over-delivered in this match.
The spectacle in itself of Kemper being the smaller man, that was mental. Like, it was. And there's just so much fight, and two lads that big fighting into the crowd. Paul, I felt kind of sorry for you all the way over the other side of the ring, because I went to the stands for this one. And there's Kemper and T right next to us fighting on the stairs. How did that look from
and then
where you were?
Big T coming down the stairs as well. I'm glad I was on the other side. So don't worry about me. I was quite fine where I was.
He did nearly kick me in the head.
Yeah,
on his way down.
Big size 20 or something. Mate, that was just. But again, we're on about obviously the match was great. Loved the dynamic. What I did like as well, though, was Kemper getting a bit of mic time before the match. It showed a bit more. Now he's champ. he needs to be able to carry it. Cut a promo, get the fans behind him, tell the story kind of thing, which he can do. I've seen him on the mic a few times now. The dude's confidence has come on leaps and bounds over the last year, 2 years. 2 years ago, no way he's grabbing that microphone. Now he's getting that microphone and he's freaking bossing it.
Sorry, I wasn't laughing at what you were saying. I was laughing at Paul having dog troubles. I could just see little chin appear over top. You're muted, Paul. We can't hear you. But yeah, Kemper for a long time, I thought the only word he knew was "Rrr."
Yeah.
So yeah, love
the good thing about was muted what I've just said.
Tell us off air then if it's that bad. But yeah, I've said it. Was I the only one who thought the ring was going to break at the end?
I was expecting it with the. Oh mate! I said to Jay, because Jay was sat there, I was like, "Oh, we're gonna get like a big show SmackDown moment." She just looked at me confused. I was like, "I'll tell you later." But I was just like, "Yes!" Oh. Never doubt a HT Drake ring though. There we go.
Every time, like one of them took a hard buckle, a whip into the corner, that ring was moving. And it actually got to the point where me and Becky, every time we could see one of them heading that direction, we had a little mark on the floor and was watching it, and it moved a good 6 to 8 inches. That corner of the ring, it was a powerful match.
It was a big E wet dream. It was big meaty men slapping meat.
That's the one.
And it was glorious. The chops were loud. The strikes were big. The boots were big. The suplexes were big. Just Kemper getting Big T over for a suplex on its own was mental. But to then do the superplex was crazy. Apparently, that is the first time Big T's ever been superplexed in his entire career.
There you go. Speaks volumes.
Yeah. If you like your big lads wrestling,
perfect match. So yeah, and then obviously, like Scott said, I've tried not to give too many spoilers away, but we will obviously say, Kemper retained, which means potentially they haven't announced it yet. I don't know, they're kind of mulling it over, but we should be getting Kemper versus Vuzic versus Brady Phillips, in a triple threat match.
I think Kemper announced it. I think he made the match. Yeah. These two general managers there, and Kemper just came out and said, "Right, a triple threat, you and you." Was like, so yeah, I think Kemper's already made the match.
There we go. I was in a daze after the match itself. I think I just kind of zoned out. I was in my happy place. I didn't totally missed that bit. Wow, cool. There we go.
Yeah, Kemper's called it out. I don't know if it's going to be at Edinburgh for the outdoor event, or if it's going to be saved for the next. Yeah, you'd think so. But the next time they're in Left Bank is the Pride show.
Right, yeah.
And the main event for that's already set.
Yeah.
Which is the ladder match. So then there won't be back in Left Bank until September.
Got to be York then. Okay.
What better way to get people to York than a match of that caliber?
Gosh, jobs are good.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. But then if we do have to wait till September, when we finally get there,
climactic.
We've got a couple of shows to go. Do like a pick your poison round robin of. Imagine doing that. Do a pick. The other two pick one's opponent, and somebody picks Encerico to come back to face Brady Phillips.
Yeah.
Wishful thinking.
But yeah, so overall, it was a. Don't want to say the word's been dirty for me now, but it was a bang of a show. It was a great show. It was awesome. Just ticked all the boxes. Not a single bad match on the card. Everybody turned up. Everybody over-delivered. Stories were told. Stories were progressed. It was true.
And we finally got a title change at York. What a monkey's paw that turned out to be.
But gentlemen, we're going to call it. It has been, it's always awesome. But obviously, I've given my view. If you two want to throw in at the end, Just asked you if you enjoyed the show at the start. You can now tell me just how much you enjoyed the show.
Paul?
You or me? Me? No. Yeah, I like the fact that we haven't gone into too many spoilers. I don't think it would be fair on True Grit for us to do that.
No.
Some of the things that are happening at the moment, you just have to see them. And the change in the landscape of True Grit, you know, some of the things that we've left out tonight, True Grit isn't going to be the same again. You know, I'm not saying for better or for worse, but if you're not watching True Grit, just watch one show. That's, you know, I'm not asking you to turn up to any of them. Sorry, to all of them. Just watch a show, judge it for yourself. You can get it on Triller, you know, buy a ticket, go there, see it live, and you'll be hooked. That's like my plea.
Yeah. And I'm just going to back up what Paul said, because I love True Grit. We all love True Grit. That's why we do this show. That's why I run the bar. That's why we've been going for as long as we've been going. But the biggest compliment I can give Saturday night show was there were two people in that crowd, and it was that I know. Sort of, one was a friend's brother, and the other one was a friend's new fella. And it was the first live wrestling shows these two had been to.
Wow.
And Taylor has only been a fan of wrestling for about 7 weeks. That's all. He's been watching wrestling 7 weeks. This is his first live show. Evan, it's his first live show. Both of them, talking to him after, were saying they need to come back.
I heard them talking
immediately. Yeah, they're hooked in immediately. They know what it's all about now. They need to come back. I think Evan only came because he wanted to be there. He wasn't really asked. He knew of wrestling. He's watched a bit here and there. Not a massive fan, but now he's seen it live and what it's all about. They're in. So, take those two people. Just that is amazing. This is why you need to get to a live show, because nobody's doing it quite like True Grit at the minute.
Wow. And on that note, I don't think I can top that. So yes, as Dan says, it's just that good at the moment, and it has been that good for a long time, to be fair. So it's not suddenly just got good. It's been, it's just getting better and better. So get yourself to
3 years.
Yeah, there you go. But it's miles ahead of where it was 3 years ago. That's what I mean. It's just keeps evolving. It's just leveling up. The writing, the story, just everything is just they're hitting all the marks, they're ticking all the boxes, they're just doing everything they should be doing. So yeah, get yourself to a show, come join, see what we're talking about, see what getting us so hyped up. But again, getting to that point in the episode where I'm getting overhyped. So I'm going to say, I'm going to thank Paul, I'm going to thank Dan for coming on and talking to me again about True Grit. Hopefully I'll see one, if not both of you, before. I don't know if we'll do a hype thing for the WrestleFest, but if not, obviously we'll do one for the Pride show. So we'll see. We'll all be back, at some point next month to either hype or review the Pride show. But gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you for having me as always, mate. Pleasure as always.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. There's nothing that I love more to do than to talk about True Grit and to talk about it with, two guys that share the same passion. I could do this for hours. I could do it for days. It's a pleasure.
That's one of the key things I've always got to be so aware, because I could make these hours 2, 3, these episodes 2 or 3, 4 hours long, like you sort of said. So it's the hardest part of doing these chats is just try and keep it within, a certain time frame. It's like, right, stop, gotta go.
I can make it last 8 hours in work when I go back in on a Monday. Like, guess what I did at weekend, and guess what happened? I'm like, oh God, he's been to a show again.
There you go. Poor Mr. 8 hours. Bosh.
That's what the wife calls him.
I wish.
Right. And on that note.
On that note, remember, always work the left side, and we'll see you again very soon. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.